Welcome, everybody. We have about 2 more minutes before we'll start. Thank you again for attending, for sure. One more thing, if you notice on your webinar, there's an area to ask questions. As we do this session, please ask your questions in that area, and we'll respond at the end of the webinar itself. Thanks. Team will be starting in about 60 seconds. Thanks. Well, thank you, everybody, for attending. We appreciate it. We'll go ahead and start off some introductions so you know who's speaking. On the left, you'll see my name, Sohail Merchant. I'm the Senior Practice Manager for Data Center and Cloud. I've been in management roles for the last 20 years, running everything from infrastructure to development to service desk to every part of IT you can think of. And I'm currently at Accudata running their Data Center, Cloud, and DevOps practice. Doan?
Yeah, my name is Doan Blair. I'm the Professional Service Manager here for at Accudata for DC and DevOps, Data Center and DevOps. Started out as a developer, did that for about 10 years, anywhere from COBOL to .NET. Moved into management about 10 years ago, managed PMOs, Director of PMO, Agile Coach, Scrum Master, that type of thing, and now I'm, like I said, Professional Services Manager here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can you go to the next one, please? All right, so a little bit about Accudata. We've been around for about 37 years. We do almost every type of consulting practice you can think of, from risk and compliance, security, networking, collaboration, data center cloud, as well as on the slide you'll notice a place called digital transformation, which is what we're going to talk about today, which is a lot about what DevOps and business process automation, or BPA in the market, is called, right? So let's talk about what this really DevOps culture is about, right? So a traditional CIO, in any large firm you look at, they have 2 core areas they focus on. One is specific around IT as a utility.
What, like emails, phones, that kind of thing?
Yeah, just like that, like dial tone, phone you're probably on, internet, getting to Google, Facebook, or maybe in WebEx, right? Conferencing, etc. Right? So just a utility service. The other part is IT as a value. Now that part, it pretty much confuses a lot of CIOs because they're trying to add a lot of business value. The confusion part is, where do you actually add the value, right? And by default, they'll go most likely to ERP type solutions, right? They'll go to Oracle Financials, or they'll go to Dynamics, or they'll go to SAP. It's all great solutions, but they're adding value to the business, but they're not giving you a competitive edge in the market, right? So you're not different than your competitor in the market at all. You're doing the exact same thing everybody else is doing. And so when you go out and try to get business, it's not making you better, faster, in a point where a client's looking at you, right? So what if you wanted to? What if you want to get an edge, right? What if you want to get an edge in the market where you're really beating your competition, where they have no way of catching up? I used to attend a lot of Cisco seminars, and they would always talk about be the disruptor. Well, how can you be the disruptor, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples. First of all, everybody's familiar with 7-Eleven, right? In the U.S., you probably heard of it. If you ever go to Japan, they're huge. They're everywhere. They're just one of the biggest convenience stores out there. They do more than a traditional convenience store. But about, I'll say 15, 16 years ago, they they had this crazy idea. The idea was, what if we put beer by pantyhose? Would that increase the sales of beer? They did that. They saw about a 20% increase in the sales of beer because they did that. Now, the question is, how did they figure that out? Like, who comes up with the idea? I don't go to bed sleeping thinking, hey, let me put beer by pantyhose, right? But they actually figured it out based on sales. So they were looking at their data. And they realized that around 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 o'clock in the evening, they would see an increase in pantyhose sales. And they realized that it was mostly because, remember, 15 years ago, it is more males in the Japan space. So they were going home, and their wives would call them and say, hey, pick up pantyhose for us, please. And so what they ended up doing is they would go pick up pantyhose 7-Eleven because it's quick and easy, and they're back home. And they're tired. Somebody said, well, if you put pantyhose real close to beer, they'll probably pick up beer. And they were right. That's just one example of somebody that used technology to increase direct revenue in a firm, right? Walmart is a great another example. Walmart's been tracking who buys where, at what store, and in what zip code for more than 2 decades. I laugh because my wife always goes, hey, it's really cool. Like, I started buying this, and next thing I know, I go back to like Kroger or Walmart or H-E-B, and they always have it. And I smile because I know why. It's because they realize that, hey, we're repetitive buyers. And they'll make sure that my wife goes every Sunday to the local grocery or store, and they'll always have it. Well, Walmart figured that out a long time ago. Walmart has a profile on every U.S. buyer. And even if you switch credit cards, they know. So they have tracked it. They have your buying habits. Just as bad as Amazon, just as bad as everybody else. Amazon's another example. They're traditionally known as a technology company. But the funny part is they're a retail company. They started in the books area. That's what they started selling. Now they sell almost everything under the sun. Hell, they even sell services under the sun. It is pretty amazing, but they use technology for everything they do. I mean, they've really destroyed the market. They're a real disruptor. I mean, to a point where Walmart had Amazon meetings to figure out how they can make this happen, how they can fight against Amazon, because it was really hurting their business. So the point of all this is it's all about data, right? Generating data, reviewing data, managing data, all that's what it's about, which is what technology is at the end about. So something I learned from a friend of mine who always told me data is worth more than diamonds. Hoard it, learn from it, build from it. So saying that, my next question would be, what can you build, right? Hey, this is great, so well, you convinced me. Right? What can you really build?
Yeah, so you were talking about earlier about ideas. How do you get those ideas to build these things?
It's a great question. It sounds like you're reading my slides ahead, by the way. Great question. All right. So how do you really get these ideas, right? And that's kind of key. I mean, if you're in a situation of leadership, you're sitting there and thinking, man, I would love to have time to spend to go figure out a way to help my business get an edge. And there's actually a proven methodology that a lot of companies do. And it's an old methodology. There's a concept called BRMs, Business Relationship Managers, right? What business relationship managers do are they're individuals that will then love solving problems. This is what they love doing. They like to go find the problems and go solve it, right? So saying that, who are those people? Those are called smart creatives. Now, I learned that from a book, How Google Works.
But smart creatives, though, let me give them some more detail around smart creatives. What do you mean by smart creatives?
I appreciate you stopping me on that. So smart creative is that interesting guy in your team that always has crazy ideas that you're like, man, let's just be quiet, sit in the corner.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear from you anymore, right?
Yeah.
But he's actually really valuable because what he's doing is he's looking for problems. He might not have the right answer to solve it, but he's looking for problems.
Right.
And to him, problems are great. I'm sure when you're a leader right now, do you have anybody in your team like that?
Yeah, I actually do. I have 1 or 2 guys that's always talking to me about making things better, making things more streamlined, more efficient, and here's how we're going to do it. Here's how I think we should do it, right? And I'm like, that's great. I'll bring that up to the team, right? I'll bring it up to management. So I have at least 2 of them.
Well, that's great, right? So almost every IT department I know has some, usually 4 or 5. Because the weird thing is IT attracts them.
Yep.
People that love how things work get into IT. Yep. And then they have all these ideas to make things better, and then really reality is most management, including myself in the past, have shut them down.
Yep.
Right? So it is important that we don't, right? So you get the BRM, great, you found a guy. Who do you assign to? How do you make him go get it? Number one, he's got to be at both profit and cost centers. Yes, he can add efficiency like you talked about.
Yep.
But he can also go ahead on a profit center, go ahead and find ways to be real competitive in the market, which adds a different flavor to whatever product solution you're selling in the market. Makes them better, different. You could be like Amazon. Amazon always has a crazy idea that gets them the edge, right? So that's key to have it. So smart creators are very important. Saying that, one other thing I would like to say, and it's a mistake I have made, leave them alone. Let them do what they do best, right? Get out of their way. That is very important.
Yeah, so next we're going to talk about, traditional development philosophies and why don't they work at this moment in time, right? A lot of times when you develop something in-house, you've gone from an idea, right? But it takes too long to get that idea from the idea to the market, right? It just takes too long because you've done it traditional ways. You've gone through, your design and planning, your data gathering, your requirements gathering, things like that, and you wait till you get all that before you actually try to develop anything and go to market. It could take years, could take months, years to get to market. You have to go through security, and then also the user is, by the time it gets out to the user, it's probably not even a valid feature anymore that the user is looking for.
Great points, right? So it's funny. First of all, I'm curious, Dylan, why did that happen? Like in the old days, I'm sure they weren't creating all these different layers, right? You have to go through all these approvals, processes, and all that. Like in the old days, I'm sure somebody just sat down and wrote code. And I mean, I'm sure Bill Gates, when he sat down and, well, we won't say how he got DOS, but whenever he got MS-DOS and got to it.
Yeah. A lot of it,
what changed?
To me, a lot of it was built around control and making sure that what you put out is bug-free. And at the end of this thing, it's just something that you want to get back, return on your investment at the end of this.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, it makes sense. So
yep.
Whatever we change from this has to have those. It's got to be secure, bug-free, and a return on your investment at the end.
We got to get quicker to market, though. We got to get quicker to market.
Yep, that's true. Go-to-market's key, right?
Yep.
That's one of the big things in the market. I mean, everybody in Wall Street always talks about who's the first hit market.
Yep.
Heck, iPhone 11 just got released. I'm sure Android and Samsung are right behind it. Google's, they're about to figure out who can release a new high-end camera feature faster, right?
That's
so,
it.
that's great. Good stuff. So, I talked about culture, and back to what you just said, getting ideas from inception deliverable fast. DevOps can do that. The idea of DevOps culture can do that. There's those fundamental methodologies you can use to really, once you have an idea, to make it real quickly. As quick as a month if you want it to be, right? The other cool thing about it is you can really improve user experience. Because DevOps is about continuous feedback.
Yep.
You really know what your user is feeling regularly. You don't have to continue. You don't have to wait for a release. You don't do an alpha release 3 months in, then the user system looks at you going, that's not what I asked.
Not what I wanted.
Now you've just wasted 90 days, 5 developers' time, and you're already behind 90 days now, right? So bug-free solutions are also key. So the faster you release, the more the user gets to play with it, the more bugs come out quicker, and you can solve them faster. Before you end up being in 1,000 lines of code, and you have to go find a bug that you worked on 50 lines, right? So that's painful. And last but not least is smaller amount of code releases means your security team can review them faster. They're not sitting there for a good week reviewing 1,000 lines of code. They're reviewing quickly. And there's some tricks under my sleeve I'll show you later that makes them go a lot faster. So can you go next, please?
I have one example here real quick, too, just to give some ideas. So one of the companies we worked at before, we had a dev team went off for a year, kind of hid themselves away for 1 year, developing this new cool widget, whatever you want to call it, for our company. And we released it, and we had this big splash marketing. It took a year to get it to market. It took 1 year to get it to market. We sold one. We sold one.
How much do you think you invested in that? Like
we invested. I know we invested over $1 million in that because of the time and the marketing and the people to do the job, right? So shortly after that, we went to the Agile methodology, right, to release fast, release code, and go to the market faster for what the market needs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You weren't the product manager on that, were you?
I was not the product manager.
Okay, just making sure.
Nope.
Wondering how we got
not
you so
me.
quick. Just checking. So let's go to the next one, please. Perfect. It's a different way of thinking, right? Culture is also a different way of thinking. First of all, I don't know if you remember the old Google days when Google first came out. They always said they were in beta.
Oh, always.
They were always. I think till this day it's in beta. I don't
Chrome
think
was in beta for years.
It's just funny to me,
Probably
right?
still is.
But it probably still is. And the reason they're always in beta is to them, there's no such thing as a finished release.
Yeah.
Right? They just want to continue making it better. They take continuous feedback and make it better, right?
Yeah.
For example, their big thing is how fast can you get data back to the user when you type in something to search.
Yeah.
So one day, I don't know how this engineer figured this out, but he said, what if we don't wait for the guy to type it in? What if we predict what they're going to type? Came out Google Instant, right? Which I'm a big fan of. I use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Funny part is they don't make money on Google Instant. They make zero money on Google Instant. But the soft value is important. So we'll talk about that later. But it's key for those items. So going forward, release features fast. Google Instant. You know how long it took to release that and develop and release it?
No.
Less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's a huge impact to the company.
Absolutely.
To every user in the world.
Yeah, to their user base. Yep.
It's just huge.
Yep.
They don't make money on it. And in 2 weeks they released it. And it's just amazing. Right? And this is, the next thing is the reason why. Even though the guy coded it, tested it, automation is what made it release that fast. Because once they released that product, it went through all the Google search engine servers quickly, right? Back to small changes mean quick review and approval processes is what I talked about earlier. You have to get your code review person to review it. You got to get security to review it. You have to go get probably another code reviewer to review it. Yeah. Now, if they have to go sit and look at 1,000 lines of code, you're delaying it. You get that 1 year problem,
Absolutely.
right? You really don't know by that time, right?
Mm-mm.
No, you do all these things. A small thing occurs when you do all of this. A small issue occurs. At the end, you will fail. But like every leadership book I've read, fail fast, learn faster, right? The point here is it's okay to fail. You're learning from it. Keep moving on. And if you wasted 2 weeks, it's not a big deal. It's better than 90 days. It's better than 1 year.
Better than a year. Yep.
I'd rather waste 2 weeks to try something and see how it goes and keep moving on, right? So it's good stuff. It's good stuff in this one. So, okay, so we talked about automation tools. The automation tools are kind of interesting, right? So if you go Google Online or Yahoo Online, wherever your favorite search engine is, it's going to be called the DevOps stack, the tool chain, DevOps tools, all kinds of things they call it, right? At the end, it's just a bunch of technologies that work together to make sure that the code you write stays intact. The review processes are automated, so nobody's got to go out and manually, emails on going around to make sure that the code has been checked, right? There's a process workflow. There's less bugs and features. There's less bug issues in it. Security's reviewing it, right? And once everything's approved, that there's no infrastructure waiting that has to go deploy it. There's not somebody sitting in a data center going, let me install setup.exe, go next. Like that process is gone, right? As soon as approval occurs, you set a time and date and deploys.
And it's not always necessary to fix the bugs in that release either, right? If there's small bugs like a color change or something, you go into the next release and then you release it in 2 weeks. You fix it in 2 weeks. Exactly.
It's a great point, right? So some of the technologies that you can use. Source code repository. Does everybody remember? Do you remember SourceSafe?
I do remember SourceSafe. I remember
TFS.
using SourceSafe. TFS. Yep.
Team Foundation Server. Yes. I haven't touched that in forever. Yep. But SourceSafe, it was a great tool. It allowed you to share your code. In the old days, you would actually literally would write things in your own world and try to sit down in a meeting and integrate it all. So SourceSafe allowed us to integrate a little better, right? Still wasn't that good because by the time you create branch, things just weren't working very well, right? It was still new. Yeah. GitHub really improved it by the way that it did the branch management and so forth, right? Now go to the next level. Like Azure DevOps, they have workflow automation. Yeah. They completely automate the way this happens. So, for example, let's say I'm a coder, and you're my code review person. Yep. Once I submit for review, You get an email. You review it. You like change. You don't like change. You reject my change.
Yep.
Come back to me. I fix it. Go back to you. You approve it. Go security. Security approves it. It's ready for release.
Yep.
And it's all done through regular notifications, alerts.
Yep.
It's not hard.
Yep.
When I used to review my last position, I was reviewing a dev release like once a day. Literally took me 15 minutes. I'll do it 8 in the morning, review it, approve it.
Yep.
Move on. Wasn't difficult, right? Bug and feature management, I love this because we used to use Excel sheets for feature management and bug management. Like we'd have Excel sheets, and we eventually started going to like Remedy and other solutions. We tried all kinds of stuff. Long story short, Excel always worked great because it was something that we all used. And it wasn't next, like there was so many pain points when you do Remedy or solutions like that. So, but like Azure DevOps is an example that has that built in. It's literally next, you're done. There's not a lot of clicks, okay. There's not a lot of detail you have to put in. And the product manager, let's say it's you can prioritize as you feel. And when you have a sprint meeting, which if you don't know what that is, call me, I'll teach you.
Yeah, we'll teach you. Yep.
So, when you have a sprint meeting, you can just say, for this week, we're going to concentrate on these 2 features. Go get it done. It's an amazing tool. So the next one is kind of one of my favorite, the automated build tool. So when you have a bunch of developers writing a bunch of code and it gets together, to have to, like, somebody download all that code and build it and find errors and go back and tell people, the automated build tool will build it as soon as somebody submits it. And they won't let them submit the code unless it builds correctly. That's cool, because other developers are responsible for ensuring the code's good before it gets in. I mean, that's great stuff. I like it because I used to be a review dev work all the time. It was annoying to me. So
I was the one always submitting the code to get a kickback.
So you're the one of the reasons I was annoyed.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Automated testing is nice. So this is kind of neat. This is now, a lot of it's getting better through AI. But there's pre-written security rules and logic rules that have been pre-built, especially in the Microsoft world, that it can automatically test these solutions for you. So as you submit code, it'll run the test for you.
Yep.
So I don't know if you heard of a UAT.
Mm-hmm.
User acceptance testing, right?
User acceptance testing,
okay. So after UAT came the automated testing tools, where you basically write code to make sure that your code you wrote works. So it's like double coding, right? Yep. Automated testing will eventually get rid of that. The code will be tested for you before you even touch it. It's really neat. Code analytics is similar. Collaboration we talked a little bit about.
Yep.
CI and CD is the automated deployment piece. Kubernetes, those kind of solutions. That's what the value of that is, right? So, all right, I convinced you. Did I convince you?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm happy I convinced you. So, what's next? What do you need to do, right? First and foremost, I want you to go find your smart creative. That's very important.
Yep.
Right? Go find a smart creative. Put them on one meeting. Say, hey, we're going to do something different and weird. I want you to spend 1 day a month to go to this business unit, assign business units, and spend an entire day there, either sitting with a trader or somebody that's running trash truck or whatever business unit you're in. Go sit down and spend all day. If you're in accounting, go sit with the accounting person all day. Watch what they do. Learn, understand, find problems to solve.
Yep.
Don't solve them, just find problems to solve. Come back to the team. Let's make a list of those problems. Let's get some financial value behind them, right? And let's prioritize them, and then go fix them, right?
Yep.
So, okay, so got it. I understand. I understand where to find the issue. I understand I got an issue, but like, how do I solve them? What if I don't have a DevOps team? What if I don't have, my development team is still traditional development? What do I do next? Do you know?
You mean call us?
Yeah, like that's what a shameless plug-in, right? Our shameless plug. You got to call us. We'll definitely help you develop some apps. But at the same time, if you just want to talk and if you're more curious about how this works, it's hard to talk about everything we've learned in 30, 45 minutes. But I'm happy to be there. Dome's happy to be there. We'll share our contact information. We're happy to get a conference call with whoever needs to be on and kind of go in more detail about how all this works. At the end, your goal really here is how can you impact the business and give them a competitive edge, right? Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that summed it up. Very good.
Perfect. Let's go ahead go to some questions. So I got an interesting question here. What about someone who wants to be an entrepreneur and cannot hire someone to come up with an idea? What can be the sources of idea for them? So that's actually a really good question because I had my own company for 5 years, and it's it's an issue I had. It's like, how do you come up with ideas? When you first start a company, you have tons of ideas. Like, you have all kinds of things you want to do. You within about the first 6 months to a year, your ideas kind of diminish because you're real busy with things. The key, really, number one, is find a mentor. As an entrepreneur, you got to have a mentor. It's just the reality. If you have a mentor, it'll help you think through things. Number two is go to as many webinars, conferences as much as possible, and go talk to people. It's weird, like when you talk to somebody about your problem or some of the things you're running into, they will have a different way of looking at it. It's a different perception, right?
9 times out of 10, if you've thought of the problem, somebody's already thought of the problem and done it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So talk to people. The key here is talking to people, right? The more you talk to people, the better, the more options you have.
Yep.
And I'll make you an offer. Whoever asked that question, and I'm assuming you're going to go down this path, find me on LinkedIn, add me, contact me. I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to have those conversations with you and help you grow your business, right? Saying that, a couple more questions here.
Yep, I have one here for you.
Okay.
So what are some specific traits of smart creatives?
That's a great point, right? So earlier I mentioned it's the odd guys, right? That you find the corner of the room that always looks for problems. Mm-hmm. One of the smart creatives so I'll talk about this one guy. I used to work for a financial firm, and I really like this guy. He always had a way. He always thought everything was possible. He never thought. I mean, I could literally look at him and say, "Hey, I'll just pick on a different name, so I don't want to call his name out. Hey, Ed, I want you to go figure out a way to get me internet in Africa." I promise to God, Ed would. Ed would go pick up the balloon idea that Google had.
Figure it out.
He'd go figure it out. Ed just was good at that. He could go fix problems out.
I had one of those guys.
It's like, and to him it was cool, it was fun. He'll go work all night on it, right?
Yeah.
But Ed's also the kind of guy that would, when we were in a meeting, when we were talking about what was going on in updates, we always thought that there's a better way of doing that. I always thought that. He'd come to my office, sit for an hour, talk to me about how much better it could be, right? Of course, he would annoy me because it would make me late for whatever meeting I had, but that's an example, right?
Yep.
You also find this guy, he has this need to learn. They just have a need, and I mean, they're the guys that you always, like, they're on weekends, they have labs at home.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, one of the kids, I'm not going to kid it, now I'll bring him up. William's a great kid. I've known him since he was 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I mentored him. His dad's an amazing guy. William would literally, after working for 12 hours straight, go home and work on his lab. He was 12 years old.
Wow.
His dad was well off. They had a lab at home. He played. It's a perfect example of creativity. They would just never know when to stop.
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. So, any other questions we have?
Yeah, we have a few more here. So
okay.
The next one is, how does security play into this?
It's a great question, right? So, it's funny, we can do code reviews in security. Mm-hmm. And the issue I ran into this is, the world's great because security is looking at small code snippets. And that's fine. But when you look at it holistically, security doesn't get a chance to review it. So there's security flaws holistically. You can hire any consulting firm that does code reviews and have at least a yearly code review on your product. Yep. Just to make sure you're not creating some huge security risk. I'll call it out. Don't be a Capital One. They had an obvious security flaw in their cloud strategy, in their cloud deployment, right? And I'm sure they didn't mean it to happen. Nobody really means that to happen, but it just happens. And if you just have a third party validate what you're doing, boom, you're good, right? Do you have any other ideas on that, by the way? Okay. No. Perfect.
No, you're good.
All right. Any question?
How do I convert an idea to a financial value?
That's a really good question. I wonder if I thought about that. Okay. So that's actually an interesting point here. First of all, stop thinking financial value. I'll pick on Google Instant.
Okay.
No real financial value.
There's no value for that at all, yeah.
But they have soft values. I mean, if somebody came back to you with a faster search engine, which I don't think there one exists outside Google right now, but let's say there is one.
Yeah.
Say Bing came out with a faster search engine, but Google had Google Instant. There's no real value to Google Instant. No. The fact that you can predictive searching, gives you an extra edge. It's a feature enhancement, right?
Bring more people there.
Correct. Yeah. So if you are thinking on, if you're always thinking financial, you don't. Think outside of it, right? Now, let's say you do have to, the reality is you can't go to CFO or CEO and say, look, I'm going to create this solution, and it's just going to make people feel good. Yeah, he'll let you do it once or twice. But if 50 out of these 100 solutions are doing that, he might be looking at you like, okay, man, I gotta make
something.
I gotta pay all you guys, right? We're in a profit business.
Yep.
So let's look at two different ways. One is you can hit the top line, the bottom line. Top line is increasing margin. You know, they say increasing revenue. Yes, but at the end, you got to increase profit, right?
Yep.
More market share, et cetera. You can even say increase revenue, but if you increase revenue on margin, it's kind of silly. Bottom line is cutting costs, right? Cutting costs really comes with efficiencies and so forth.
Yeah.
So if you know that, you got to aim for that. So efficiencies, to me, easiest way of calculating efficiencies is hourly wage and how much time it saves for one individual to an entire firm in a day.
Yep.
You add that number up, it works great. So actually, I'll pick on Microsoft Link. I had this amazing account manager from Microsoft when I worked for the financial firm. He came up to me and he goes, hey, Sohail, I want you to try something new for me. I'm like, what? He goes, what IAM solution do you use right now? Actually, the first question he asked me was, how long does it take you to get a hold of somebody in this company? I'm like, usually I leave them a voicemail, they'll call me back 2-3 hours later, not a big deal. He goes, okay, what if I tell you we could do it within 5 minutes or less? How valuable? Like, it'd be really nice. I get a lot of things done today. It'd be very valuable to me. He goes, all right, I want to tell you about this product called Link. This IAM solution. Like, man, we got AIM. Don't worry about it. All of us use AIM inside. Not a big deal. AOL-IAM, right? So, yes, I'm showing my age. I apologize.
Yeah, I remember that.
Saying that, he asked me to do a pilot. So we did an internal pilot. And I learned a lot from it. Like, hey, man, it's a lot easier doing AIM because I don't have to know their AIM name or et cetera. Just easy to find, right? I really liked it. I was like, man, this is all cool and stuff. I'm sorry, I can't go talk to my CIO that this IAM solution is going to do anything of value. So my IAM goes, don't worry about that. Do you like it? Do you think it'd be valuable to your firm? I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right. So how much efficiency is he at it? I'm like, oh, easy. I can get a hold of somebody real quick, and we're solving problems within minutes instead of hours. So he created a math formula behind it. He said, okay, if I can save you 1 hour a day, just in IT. He multiplied that, created the financial, which is hard to do, average cost of an employee, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It was like almost $1 million. I went to my CIO and said, hey, this solution is promising us a savings of $1 million a year. It's going to cost us $100,000 to install, up and running. My CIO was like, I just need proof it's going to save us $1 million a year. It's approved. I'm like, well, what if we do a pilot? He goes, do a pilot. We did a pilot for a bigger team. The team loved it. We bought it.
Yeah.
Easy sell, right?
Yeah.
The point is, that's the bottom line. The top line, that's the risky part. It is really difficult to prove that. What you can do is to do some market research, create a marketing team, find out how much more market you can bring, because you can't really increase the price, most likely, because you'll lose. But if you can see an increase in market, then definitely you'll see the value, right? So marketing is your key in that situation. Great.
Okay.
You have another question?
And I think we have one last question. I am not in a leadership position, so how can I convince my leaders of going down this path?
That's actually a good question. Really good question. I got to think about that one. So, okay. So you're not in a leadership position. But do you think most of those individuals probably have influence on their leaders, right? They can sit down and say, hey, let's have a conversation. The problem is, how do you message it? Now, you're lucky. You guys know me. Now you've met. Virtually, we've all met, right? So I'm here for you. And I'm going to offer this out. I think my contact information will be up soon. And when it does show up, write it down. Contact me. Find me on LinkedIn, email me. I don't care how you get a hold of me. Get a hold of me, right? And I will offer you, sit down to help you have that conversation. There's no cost. I won't do any sales pitch. Don't worry about that. You don't have to hear about how Accudata can help you. But I can help you have those conversations, right? And it's all about them understanding the value of this. The issue here is, if I'm a third party having this conversation, they don't have to listen to it. And my wife picks on me about this because she always says, like, honey, you don't listen to me. One of my friends told me the exact same thing. I pay attention, right? So it's funny, but it's just human nature, right? I'll pick on my wife because she picks on me all the time. Anyway.
And she's not listening.
I'm sure she is, actually. So I'll be in trouble later.
Yeah.
Next. Hey, as promised, here you guys are. Here's a link, and this webinar will be available for them to download and click. Perfect. So you can download and click on this webinar, and that's the actual link of where you can click on and select and submit your information, and we'll contact you. At the same time, like I offered, my name is Sohail Merchant. Find me on LinkedIn. Add me. I'll definitely respond to my messages and help you solve any issues you have.
Yeah, same thing with me. Find me on LinkedIn, Doe and Blair. If you find Sohail, you'll probably find me. Same thing. I'll answer any questions that you have.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, everybody.